All right. Welcome back to another episode of Knicks Morning Coffee Recap. We're going to talk a little bit about last night's game 3 in our favor. All right. But before we do, like, comment, subscribe. Trying to at least get 2 more subscriptions. Just 2. If you haven't already, please do so for us. All right. So last night, some people call it a must win. I thought it was a must win out of the next 2. We had to get one of these 2 and get a split because we ruined it by giving up our home court advantage. So now we kind of got it back. And even if we leave there with a split, we are right. But last night, Karl-Anthony Towns was the story. He bounced back from a miserable game 2. A lot of that was also on us. I mean, Towns had to be aggressive. You could tell the team had a team-friendly conversation about getting him the ball, and they started the game off. That's what they did. Now, he dominated that first quarter. A lot of it looked like walk-in threes, but we'll take it. Because if they are going to push him out of the paint, which he has to do a better job of establishing position. He was establishing position, but it was too high. To me, he should get a little bit lower and mix it up that way because it's harder to defend. But the threes were working, and we took full advantage of his whole arsenal last night. He drove to the basket. He dished off. He knocked down threes. He rebounded. He clogged the paint. So he did everything last night that a center was supposed to do. Now, he also had the help of his sidekick, Mitch Robinson. They got some things they got to iron out together. But as you can see, we're a better team with both our bigs on the floor. I also think Achua should get a bulk of minutes too also because we got to protect that rim. Because when we rebound, we are off and running. We off and running. And we can't be second guessing who's ahead of us. One of my pet peeves for this team, though, even when Josh Hart get it and on Carmelo Anthony's 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast, he also noted that when Josh Hart get the ball off the boards, everybody should sprint ahead. And I didn't know why that wasn't the case even last year. He should not be the first man down the court on the one-man fast break. Everybody should fill a lane, the whole team. But again, it worked in our favor. We're going to take this win, but we still got some things that we have to iron out. It was nice to see, Cat and Mitch get physical with their bigs because we can't have a backup center who would not even be playing Reed come in and try to establish his dominance against our bigs. And our bigs wasn't going for it. Mitch and Cat wasn't going for it. So it was technicals worth getting. And we also got to give a kudos to OG Anunoby. He came up big for us. I mean, without him, too, we don't win this game. Big bucket after big bucket. And what I also loved is that it seems to me that the Knicks have adopted the old Detroit Pistons Jordan rules on Cade Cunningham, because it seemed like every time he touched the ball, we swarmed him. Now he's still able to do what he do because he's elite, but those Jordan rules that we applied to Cade Cunningham is going to have to be felt and done the entire series. He is not going to let up. All he needs is an inch of breathing room, and he's letting it fly or he's going by you, and then it creates all types of mismatches for us as far as our defensive rotations. But I don't know if that was the mindset of the Jordan rules, but it had to be similar to that because Tibbs knows a little bit about that himself. And I'm glad that we did that. I'm glad that we're adopting some type of defensive identity against Detroit, in particular Cade Cunningham. But we're going to need that from the whole team the whole season. I like the way Payne and McBride came in off the bench and be a spark for us and also be a presence. They don't have to score big numbers all the time, but be a presence out there on the floor. And they were. Okay, Jalen Brunson, that's our go-to guy. We need him. He stepped up big also last night. To me, a little bit too much dribbling in the early possessions of the clock, and we got to try to figure that out. But he will. He's a winner. And Mikal Bridges again. Whew, people just keep trying to count him out, but you can't. You can't. He's here to do a job as a third or fourth wheel, depending on the night, and he's doing that. Like, those big buckets that he gave us, this is the combination of a total team effort is what we displayed. And, game 3 in the Knicks' mind might have been a must win. I wanted it as bad as anybody else. But if it wasn't game 3, then it had to be game 4. So now we could change the scenario a little bit. Now that we know that Cat is going to be aggressive, right? And if he's not getting the ball, he's going to demand the ball. So now our guards got to recognize that, and our wings. Rotate him around. We moved him around that paint so much, they couldn't keep up with him. So he was able to touch it. Once a big man can touch it, then they do all the other intangibles. So now I'm looking at game 4. Hey, let's go in and steal game 4. Game 5, we out of here. Now that's the perfect storm picture. So now we know 5 or 6, we should be ready to wrap them up. They're a formidable foe. We still ain't counting them out, but we got to just take care of what we got to take care of. For the first time the whole season, we got our whole entire roster at our disposal, and we got to use every little bits and pieces that we can. We can't stop playing the chess match because they're not going to. We have Shamit. We got guys on there that can come in and give you a quick spark, even if you got to pull them back out. But everybody got to be able to see that orange ball go in the net. And it's definitely going to help us if the series extends beyond what it needs to. And I really tip my hat off to Detroit, our former player, Tim Hardaway Jr. He was lights out. He was looking like DiVincenzo out there yesterday. But one thing that we knew that he was going to fold. You're not going to keep shooting like that the whole game. If a guy like Klay Thompson can't always do it, Tim Hardaway Jr. is not going to always do it. But the fact that him and Malik Beasley can turn it up when they want to is a concern, but that's why we brought in the defenders that we brought in. All right? They're going to get something while we're trying to take away something else, but we in it to win it, and we locked in. So it's my belief that we applying the Jordan rules on Cade Cunningham. If anybody else think it's something else that we doing, put it down in the comment. But we did it. We did it, Knicks fans. All right? On to the next. Peace.